What's good, YouTube? Anti-Yami here, back with another video. And in today's video, we are doing a Yu-Gi-Oh! Banlist prediction slash wish list. Actually, my very first time doing this, and I'm very excited to present to you guys what I think may happen and what I think should happen to the Yu-Gi-Oh! Banlist that's coming up at the end of the month. So without further ado, let's go ahead and hop into this. Again, if you guys enjoy the content, make sure you guys leave a like down below or a comment. For some reason I can never say this correctly, but if you guys want to leave a comment down below and leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel, I'll try to do more content similar to this. And also I do like a lot of Nintendo content as well, so it's a little bit of like a mixed channel. But a lot of the times it's going to probably be like Yu-Gi-Oh stuff. Let's go ahead and start with the elephant in the room. Let's tackle Snake Eyes. I'm going to talk about probably the first 4 decks of the format and how I can like adjust the decks a little bit to make them like, you know, whatever. There's multiple ways you can hit the decks, but I think this is the way I feel like it either should or will get hit on the official ban list. So let's just go ahead and start with Snake Eyes. And I won't be doing the semi-limited and I won't be doing the unlimited section. We're just going to skip those because those could be literally anything. They can decide to put a card back to 3 or just not touch it at all. And I'm not going to try to predict something coming off the ban list, like something like Heavy Storm or, you know, etc., right? So we're going to be focusing on just like the stuff that should get hit, like the bans and the limit sections of popular decks. What I think should happen to Snake Eyes, and this is probably like surprising no one, I think Snake Eye Ash definitely needs to be limited. I actually almost thought about Snake Eye Ash being just straight up just banned at one point. I don't think they will ever do that, but like I think Snake Eye Ash to 1 is like completely fair. There's a lot of engines, especially like in Fiendsmith and like Beatrice, that you can like get yourself back into like full Snake Eye combo. But obviously we're gonna talk about a card on the ban list that's gonna like help prevent that and kind of like weaken the Fiendsmith engine a little bit. And you guys should already know what that is, but yeah, I think Snake Eye Ash going to 1 is probably most likely going to happen. The next card I think should happen is Original. I think personally, Original should be banned. I think it's very, very strong in the actual Snake Eye deck. It gives you like an E-teleport out the deck, and it also gives you like random follow-up, and it's extremely good paired with Black Witch, because now you can get like a draw effect off of it as well, and you can, you know, add it back to your hand. I think it's a little too crazy, and yeah, it definitely helps out like the other fire decks like Rescue A's, maybe something like not necessarily Salomon Great, but even like TG's, maybe what's that deck called? I can't even think of what it's called. It's the one with like Pekatron in it and stuff, Infernoids, stuff like that. But honestly, I really feel like this definitely puts the hit on Snake Eyes, because now they can't use Della Bellstar as like a main starting engine. So I think that's what should happen. Another Snake Eye hit, and it may not happen, but it's a possibility, that I think IP Masquerena probably needs to be banned. And again, I don't know if this is going to happen or not, but this is just like a guess at this point. I think it'll be very interesting if it does decides to get banned, but like it is a very part and a very essential like part of the Snake Eyes end board, and it'll be very interesting to see how, if they were to still be kind of at full power, to not use IP Masquerena as the inboard piece, because it's very strong. SP or IP into SP, by clearing the Flame Purge and getting like a banish, like basically 2 interruptions on top of like extreme follow-up is insane. On top of like the Appaloosa and, you know, the 9 hand traps they got in their hands. So like, I don't know, I thought it would be very interesting to see that card definitely hit. The next card, since we're on the Snake Eye path, and not only just Snake Eyes abuse this card, but I think it's a card that a lot of decks are using, which is Appaloosa. It'll be very interesting to see how decks can move forward without using Appaloosa. And it's just a very interesting and just a generic import piece, because basically what you do is you take all your combo pieces and you use their normal summon effects, and you get their pluses off that. And then once you squeeze them out like a sponge, then you move them into an Appaloosa, which is like, whatever, right? So like you can do Hita effect, special summons a monster. They get their effects, and then you do something, make it into like a Selene or whatever, and then you move it all into an Appaloosa, which is like the whole point of the Hita effect, right? Is to move yourself into Appaloosa. That's just like so free. So maybe they'll probably use a different extra deck monster or use something else to kind of like fill in the gap. But I just think Appaloosa is very hard to get over, not by itself, but just in general. And I think it'll be very interesting to see us move forward without it and see what other like ideas we can come up with. But yeah, Appaloosa is very good. And also like it hurts like Ubel and stuff like that. Like it'll make the board a lot easier to tackle without Appaloosa if they don't have that part, like that card on top of like the Phantom of Ubel and Rage and all that stuff. And like it's really hard when it's surrounded by other protection pieces. So speaking of Ubel, which I think these are like fine Snake Eyes hits right here, these 4 cards. I think this will like neutralize the deck in itself. I'm not saying that this will happen like directly, but I feel like it could happen, and I feel like these are hits I would technically make if I were to like create this ban list. Next deck I want to hit on is Ubel. So in Ubel, I think opening to 1 is very, very good, and I know this might be like a big stretch, and I don't know if this is like correct or anything like that, but I'm gonna put it on the list anyway so we can get some discussion going. I think it'll be very interesting if they actually ban Soul of Rage. And the reason why I'm deciding to like hit this for like the Ubel package, even though it is an Unchained card, and I know I'm going to get a lot of hate for this, but the reason why SP Lord Knight is so good, because IP allows it to be made on your opponent's turn, which means that it gets the actual banish effect turn 1, right? Well, if you do that to IP, I think Solar Rage is just a better IP. Obviously, Snake Eye Ash or Snake Eye decks don't use this card, but in every other deck that abuses the Unchained package, basically a Fiend deck, can use this card. And I think that is really strong in itself because it's really broken. It's hard to get over. It can dodge things like Dark Ruler No More, stuff like that. So you have to kind of like DD Crow it out the graveyard if it's in the grave. But if it's face up on the field, sometimes you can use Escape and then pop a card and then Yama effect, bring back Rage, and then now you have a live Rage. So it's really hard to deal with. And I think it's really strong in today's metagame. So it'll be interesting to see this card like get hit. I can't think of anything else to do to Ubel because Ubel is technically on a newer side and it's only been really relevant for like one real format. So I just think that would be very interesting to see hits. But those are my like Ubel hits and stuff like that. Next, going into Tenpai. I don't know which one they would hit. Most likely it would be the Fill Spell, but I think it'd be also interesting if they also smack Kaiman to 1. Just to kind of give them like a little bit of a hit because they're going to be crazy with the new like maxi cards and you know all these things to like facilitate them getting advantage, going second and stuff like that. So I really think that one of these cards will get hit, and I'm most likely leaning on the Fill Spell, but I'll leave this here just in case because I feel like it could get hit too. Probably not, because that will probably pretty much kill the deck, I feel like, but I think that's the one that would be very interesting. And here's another hot take. I think a lot of people are not putting this on the list, but I'm going to put this on my list and see what happens. So, I think Bestials are very, very strong, but I don't want the Bestial package to be like that crazy. I'm looking more towards like Tempai and the fact that if you play a dragon card in your deck, that you can technically search any dragon card out of your deck if you draw this hand trap, and I think that's a little crazy. I always thought that Magamamut should have been like banned after it went to 1, because again, it's still very, very, very strong. And if you're playing like the whole regain package and stuff like that, it just gets like snowbally. It's really, really strong. Again, I don't think this is going to get hit, but I really want to see if it does actually gets banned. And again, it probably won't, but I really think that it'll be really interesting if it does get banned, and see how people kind of like, they'll just move over, probably playing more Druid's Worms or, stuff like that. But I don't know. I think a DD Crow body plus a search is really, really insane in a lot of decks, especially in Tempai. I just think that it's a little insane, but again, nothing crazy. All right, so the next step we're gonna try to hit is branded. I think branded is like very, very crazy, and the one card I want to hit is Albion. If I remember how to spell his name, Albion. There we go. So yeah, so I think this card is really, really insane, and people say ban Gimmick Puppet, but they'll just move on to another target. And if Gimmick Puppet is, banned or whatever, then they'll just keep moving on, and they'll find other things like Ido, but they can just move on to another target like the Winged Dragon of Raw Disciples thing. Even though it's not like ideal, it can still happen, right? And it's still not like great for the game, in my personal opinion. And then there's other locks too that can lock you into like fiends, or lock you into like certain other types. Maybe they're gonna lock you into another type that's not very popular, and it's just gonna be a problem no matter what, right? So I think the problem is banning Albion. I think that's probably the better hit. And then the next card we're gonna hit, and I think this card should have been hit, and I don't think it's going to get hit now just because it's how the format is. But I always thought that Branded Fusion should have at least be limited. There's 90 different ways you can get to this card, and hard drawing this card can be just like whatever. Even though Ash Blossom does exist, you're not going to have Ash every single game, but Branded will have access to Branded Fusion every single time. So 60% or 66% of the time they will resolve this card and they will pop off. So I just thought that this would be like a really cool hit for it. Most likely this guy won't get hit. It'll probably stay at 3, but I thought it would be very interesting to see this card get somewhat limited, just to kind of give Brandon like, all right, you've been relevant for almost like 3 years, so it's time to like see it kind of like die down just a little bit. Next, we're gonna talk about another main deck card, which is going to be Skill Drain. Now it can go to limited or it can go to ban, but me personally, I'm a big ban the floodgate type of guy. I'm happy that a lot of the other floodgates went to 1, but at the same token, if they draw the 1 of, you got sacked, and I don't think it's like that great of a card to like keep around like that. I don't think it's very healthy for the game, right? And this is basically kind of like an indirect hit to like stun type variants. But not only that, the fact that the best decks are using Skill Drain, and then they just cut off their Skill Drain on their turn and then just basically OTK you, I don't think that's very healthy for the game. It's the fact that they can cut it off is what makes it like really, really broken. Same thing with Summon Limit, where Summon Limit was used in Snake Eyes. They flip it on you, and you basically have to pass, and then they just go Snake Eye Ass Effect and send it to the graveyard, and then they're just going to kill you. So, yeah, same thing how I feel about Scarecrow Drink. I think it should be in the ban department, because if you do not ban this card, it's still going to see play. And I don't think we just need this card around. And plus, Runic Stun and other stun variants are going to use this card, like Horror Stun, Runic Stun, other decks that can get away with it. I'm starting to see now Whitewood Runic starting to use this card too, and it's really annoying because they're main decking it. So, like, I don't know. I just think this card deserves to get banned. So, yeah. Speaking of Runic, and Joshua Smith, please don't hate me. Don't kill me. But I think these two cards should have been on the list like this. I think Runic Fountain and Runic Tip should have been limited. I think they should have been both at 1. I am very surprised Tip survived that one Runic Banlist. Like, I was like, oh yeah, Tip to 1 seems like the most logical hit. And they decided to not hit that card at all. And I was looking at the Master Duel like list and stuff like that, and I saw how they were kind of hitting the Runic cards, and I was like, that's a fair way to like go about it and stuff like that. But at the very least, I thought Runic Fountain and Runic Tip will at least go to 1, you know. But semi-limited, like, come on, dog. Like, that's not even a real hit. Like, that's actually helping bad players make their deck consistent or making it good, because you technically never play 3 fountains unless you're playing stun. But anyway, I think we're gonna go ahead and move on to like 2 more cards. I believe there's 2 more cards on this list. So Elephant in the Room again, and we didn't talk about it before. But I think Beatrice definitely needs to get banned. I think she's basically overdue at this point. She is literally just a better Lavabo chain at this point. She's a quick effect. She's just insane. Yeah, obviously she's basically splashed in most decks now because of the Fiendsmith engine. And I think hitting the Fiendsmith engine is not correct because it's very, very new. And I don't think the Fiendsmith engine is that insane, but I think there's other cards surrounding the Fiendsmith engine that makes it very, very strong. So to me, I think Beatrice, it's time for her to go. She's been around in and out of formats, and every time she's been in formats, she hasn't really been healthy for the game. So I think she's down to, you know, get banned and, you know, move on from there. So nothing surprising. For our last card on our list, please ban this card. Like, this card right here should have been hit a while back, especially when Punk Darions were making this card. Like, that should have been addressed in that format, even though it wasn't considered the best deck. It was just still like, if you don't draw hand traps or ways to stop this card, then you lose. So I don't know. I just think this card definitely needs to be hit. I always thought that Centurions was a very cool deck, and they have other tools to like win and stuff like that. But the fact that their main game plan, and I don't blame them because it's like a very strong win condition, but honestly, I think it needs to get hit. I think it's too strong. I think it's just too game ending, and I think it's really bad card design at this point, because now we can summon it on our opponent's turn and basically skip their turn. So yeah. But yes, guys, this is my Banlist prediction for August. Hopefully a lot of these hits are addressed the way I have it on here. I don't think I really missed anything too important. I might have missed like 1 or 2 cards that probably should get hit, but I think for the most part, if you're trying to like ban or limited cards, I really think that this is a very good start, and we'll keep it'll keep the format very interesting. And then whenever the new cards come out of the newer sets, they'll have a chance to like thrive on their own identity. And oh wait, hold up, we forgot 1 card. Wait a minute. How could I forget this card? I'm sorry, chat. I almost forgot about this guy. Yeah, he thought he can get away with it, but no. I honestly think that this card being limited or banned is like the way to go. I'm pushing more towards banned, but yeah, I think this card should be banned. Obvious reasons. It leads to like, you know, graveyard decks not being able to play, and it makes decks that can play it a little too powerful and too momentum swinging. So the Dimension Shifter should be on the list, especially since now Malice has been released, and Malice with Shifter is crazy. Like, that's probably gonna be the best Shifter deck if that card gets released, or that deck gets released with this card. So yeah, let's just ban that card. But anyway, that's my list. I was like, I forgot something felt weird, but yeah, it was Shifter. So guys, if you guys enjoyed the video, again, leave a comment down below thinking how I'm an idiot, or thinking like, oh, that's an interesting hit, you know, good way of thinking about it type deal. So yeah, roast me in the comments, I don't care. And yeah, I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.